Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live 10 at 10.
What's in a word? When it comes to law enforcement writing tickets, it's a question people ask, especially after they've been pulled over. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Stephanie is off. The word is quota. Law enforcement tell us they don't set quotas, instead admit setting goals for officers. Valley News Team's Christina Craig has more on the story, including what happens when goals aren't met.
Many of us have been here before.
And then you just have 14 days to do one or the other.
People are talking after a blog post questioned whether North Dakota's Highway Patrol sets quotas.
Sometimes when they say they don't have a quota, they really have a number they're supposed to hit or a goal that's not called a quota, but it's essentially the same thing.
Quota, goal, it doesn't seem to really make a difference. It's still a number that they're trying to meet. So if that's the case, it's kind of ridiculous.
Captain Brian Niewind of the North Dakota Highway Patrol says the goal is a soft number, the number of tickets each trooper should write in a year. When we asked how this goal is enforced,
we have quality people that work for our organization, and we expect them to take those goals and think about them on a day-to-day basis and go out there and try and work to achieve those.
But Captain Niewind admits that if a trooper doesn't meet goals in each of the 8 categories, there could be disciplinary action.
There could be what we call our action reports or written warnings that might be issued. On top of that, it could be suspensions and or termination from our organization.
The process is to prevent crashes before they happen. For those that have been on the wrong side of the law,
It's still a number that they're trying to meet, but it seems like they're trying to make it less controversial.
I think both of them sound exactly the same. I think goal almost sounds worse just because it almost seems like a reward to them instead, where a quota seems like something they're just required to meet whether or not they like it or not.
call it what you want, goal or quota. The fact of the matter is tickets will still be handed out to those who break the law. In Fargo, Christina Craig, Valley News Live.
Fargo police say they use a similar system. They find placing patrols in high crash areas work best. The traffic violations seem to follow. Years after her house burned to the ground, a Wheatland, North Dakota woman is getting serious about finding answers. Gay Swanson is offering $2,000 for information about the person she believes lit the fire. 8 years ago, it was investigated at first as arson. Later, investigators would say there was no evidence to show what may have started the fire. The statute of limitations for arson ran out in 2010, but Swanson says she still wants to know what happened for peace of mind.
I want to know who did it. I want to know who did it and why. Why would you do that to my house? What did I ever do? You know, why would you burn a house down? It just sat here.
If you have any information, you're asked to email Swanson. We have her address on our website, valleynewslive.com. Simply click on this story. And if you need help uncovering fraud or corruption in your community, call our whistleblower hotline. The phone number is there on your screen, 701-237-6576. Do so and leave your tip. We'll do our best to get to the bottom of it. Fargo and Moorhead agree working together is a good plan. A proposed shuttle bus would provide needed parking during Fargo City Hall's construction for flood protection and bring people to both sides of the river easier. Valley News Team's Krista Boehm joins us with details. Krista?
Mike, both cities do agree they could benefit from a bus making stops on both sides of the river. Fargo is asking for anywhere from 100 to 200 parking spaces in the Moorhead Center Mall parking ramp. City employees would park and hop on the shuttle to get to work during construction of a new city hall and flood wall in downtown Fargo. The shuttle would only make that one stop in Moorhead a concern of benefits for the council. There are a number of steps that still need ironing out. It comes down to two main concerns, though: melding the downtowns together and temporary parking for Fargo City workers when the construction begins.
Just the one stop at the Moorhead Center Mall, to me, does not seem enough. And so that would be one thing I would want a subgroup to potentially work out is, you know, what are the other hot spots in Moorhead that we would want to see stops?
What clouds this issue is maybe what's good for Fargo City Hall isn't necessarily good for Moorhead. And this just seems, if you really dissect it and open it up, it just seems to me like the real issue is Moorhead City staff need a place to park well, why don't we park over in Moorhead? And that just doesn't seem right to me.
Researching that.
Moorhead City Council isn't ruling out the shuttle. They created a subcommittee to work out issues of parking spaces, maintenance costs, and a map of stops, knowing that Moorhead businesses could still benefit.
You know, it directly stops at 22 different businesses. That's how many businesses are currently in the Moorhead Center Mall. So it's a one stop to 22 businesses in Moorhead. So that is bringing in different traffic. And you have a guaranteed 100 to 200 different employees for the next 18 months coming into town. Where else would you get a guaranteed 100 to 200 employees coming into downtown Moorhead? You wouldn't.
This shuttle bus would just be a trial run at first for about 9 months and would cost Fargo around $130,000 to run Monday through Saturday, making that loop around both downtowns every 15 minutes. Mike?
Thanks, Krista. There's still plenty of time to work this out. Construction on Fargo City Hall isn't expected to start until next fall. The city of Moorhead is also looking to update its taxi cab and limousine ordinance. The proposed ordinance would make companies do their own background checks. The move is being made to go along with the city of Fargo, since cabs travel back and forth from each city. Moorhead is also a step closer on tougher restrictions for massage therapists. The council gave initial approval requiring massage therapists to provide proof of citizenship and require them to live within 100 miles of where the business is located. Moorhead police point to a growing problem of prostitution and sex trafficking that could come out of these businesses. The council directed Police Chief Dave Ebbinger to get feedback from massage therapists in Moorhead. Pet owners are worried tonight in Lakeville, Minnesota. That's in the Twin Cities metro area. Police today went door to door warning people that someone is trying to poison their pets. Dog owners began to find hot dogs stuffed with screws and safety pins over the weekend. And upon further closer look, backyards through the area, they also found pills stuffed in hot dogs, steel wool smeared with peanut butter, and shotgun shells and punctured batteries. All of the items were tangled with rubber bands and appear to be created for dogs to swallow.
To try to determine how many residents have found these items in their yards, and if any other dogs had ingested them but not needed medical attention.
A vet tech says swallowing the items can tear the stomach and intestine and lead to bleeding to death. She also doesn't want pet owners to panic. Instead, she says to simply beware. Starting tomorrow, 3rd Avenue North between 2nd and 3rd Streets North will be closed. It's all part of the 2nd Street North Pump Station construction project. This construction of the 2nd Street North Pump Station is a component of the in-town levees under the Fargo-Moorhead Area Diversion Project. Well, here's some good news for golfers out there. Village Green Golf Course, the driving range at least, will be opening for the season this week. With warm temperatures forecasted, the facility will open at 10 Wednesday morning. It'll be the earliest opening date for the driving range in its history, or the history of the Meadows as well. Village Green Golf Course is located at 3421 30th Avenue South in Moorhead. And remember to like Valley News Live on Facebook. You can follow the latest news, weather, and breaking news updates anytime on your feed. Just search Valley News Live, like our page, and you'll stay informed throughout the entire day.
Valley News Live 10 at 10 continues with No Wait Weather.
Seems not long ago, in fact, just a week ago, we were talking about blizzards and temperatures that were only going to be in the single digits.
Talk about a rally, a record rally.
Right, exactly. We hit some records today. Once again, Fargo and Grand Forks also hit a record there too. Here's a quick look at the almanac. I'll have 58 degrees in Fargo, and the actual, or average high rather, I should say, is 32. So well above the average. Record was 55, and that's an old one set back more than 100 years ago. So we really blew that one out of the water with a high of 58 degrees today, 58 in Grand Forks again. And Jamestown also set a record at 57. So very warm day in eastern North Dakota. Minnesota, a nice day too. We saw those temperatures rising into the 40s and 50s, 50 degrees in Bemidji and 48 in Thief River Falls today. A look outside, it is nice and quiet, 42 degrees, clear skies. Still 42 at this hour. That's still 10 degrees above what our average high typically is this time of year. So still very mild tonight. Wind out of the south at about 13 miles per hour. And across the region, we have temperatures that are in the 30s and low 40s, 41 in Bemidji and 43 degrees in Detroit Lakes. A cooler 36 degrees right now in Devil's Lake. The wind was gusting into the 20s earlier this evening. It's starting to quiet down a little bit for tonight, but we are still seeing those wind speeds in the teens, generally out of the south, southwest, and that'll be the case through the evening hours, eventually switching to a more westerly direction. So looking at anything that might be coming down the road for us as far as precipitation is concerned, we have to look north. Moving into southern parts of Manitoba, another little disturbance moving to the north of us, but there is some rain showing up, at least on the radar, near the North Dakota border with Canada, and that's going to continue sliding eastward tonight. So it may be brushing just a couple of sprinkles our northern counties, and in addition to that, a few clouds moving in the overnight hours. That's the northern track of storm systems that's staying well to our north. Down to our south, they're getting more rain in southern parts of the U.S. So those are the two main areas of stormy weather that's happening across the continent. Here in the middle, we are quiet. We are seeing dry conditions with, again, just a slight chance for some sprinkles. We'll show you that here in our hour-by-hour forecast. Through the overnight hours, we'll watch that slide its way eastward. Highway 2 north of there, that's the best bet for seeing some sprinkles, maybe even some light rain up along the international border up toward Lake of the Woods. And by 5 a.m., some places where we may be seeing some sprinkles to start off our day. This will move through rather quickly, though. And temperature is very warm to start off, too. Many of us, most of us, at that freezing mark or above that temperature just to start off our day on Tuesday. Notice the wind. Steady speeds in the single digits and teens, but during the day, off and on, we may see those wind speeds gusting a little bit into the afternoon hours, especially. That little bit of rain moves its way out 8 a.m. as you're heading to school, heading to work. Temperatures start rising their way back into the 40s and eventually a 50-degree range by lunchtime. The clouds kind of hang around in northwest Minnesota, and that may inhibit our temperatures a little bit, but all of us on the mild side once again tomorrow, and very warm once again, too. Highs in the 40s, even some mid-50s for our Tuesday, with clearing happening throughout the day, especially into the afternoon hours. And quiet and warm into the extended forecast. We'll see plenty of gorgeous sunsets like this one in Great Bend that was taken on Saturday by Nick. And taking a peek at our temperatures for the rest of the extended planner, Wednesday back up to 58 degrees, and we will surpass that as we move into midweek Thursday. We may see our first 60-degree temperature of the year. We haven't seen that since October. And even into the weekend, Sunday, there's a good shot at seeing a little bit above 60 even as our next, perhaps, system approaches. It's a little far off, but maybe a little bit of a change coming up. But we have such a nice stretch of mild weather for March.
No complaints.
No.
Later on Valley News Live 10 at 10, a late start to a big game in Sioux Falls. A live report from there as the Bison tangle with Oral Roberts. Up next, new information on the use of antidepressants during pregnancy and the impact on newborns.